Good day, students. The topic for today's session is targeting. It is almost like quite 2 weeks since we got into the recorded classes as we had assessments and other live sessions. So, before we get into the targeting, I just want to give you a refresher on what we were discussing in Unit 2. It was about segmentation, targeting, and position, most familiarly called as the STP concept in marketing. If you remember, we were talking in our last class about marketing segmentation, identify basis for segmentation. To recollect, segmentation is group of people who has homogeneous characteristics and accordingly those groups has been divided. So what we were actually doing is we did consider some variables, say some demographic variables, or like no based on their psychological variables. We considered some variables, and based on those variables, we were trying to divide people into groups. So every people in that particular group will have homogeneous characteristics, meaning similar characteristics. And that is what we did in market segmentation. We identify basis means we were identifying variables on the basis for segmentation and determining the important characteristics of each market. So once segmentation is done, the next step is to do for targeting. So now you have various groups divided, right? Depending upon the market, depending upon what basis you have divided into n number of groups, 3 groups, 5 groups, or any number of groups you have divided. Now, for a company, it is not important to satisfy the needs of all the groups. Okay, so the company can select one particular group, or rather, I can say particular segment, and satisfy the need. And how do they select that particular segment to which they are going to satisfy? It is through evaluating the potential and commercial attractiveness. This is what is important. What is the attractiveness this segment is going to provide in terms of commerciality? Because everyone is into business, right? Because if you are going to produce a product for a particular segment of people, you must be able to make some profit out of it, right? So you will identify where there is scope for growth, and that is what we mean by potential. And we also check out, is it going to be really make some money out of it? And from that you can select one or more segments. It depends on the company. They can also decide to select only one particular group and satisfy their particular need or want, or they can select 2 or 3 segments. Okay, say for example, if we take this Royal Enfield bike, they are the allied group of people catering to only those allied group of buyers. But whereas if you take your companies like Unilever or Procter and Gamble, they produce so many different varieties of healthcare products, hair care products, so many different products under different brands has been produced. So there they are actually catering to more number of segments. So it is up to a company to decide whether they want to satisfy only one particular segment, or they want to satisfy people in different group of segments. So we will talk about positioning later after we finish targeting. Moving on to targeting, I have a picture for you, which is the Tata groups. So if you have the Taj group in the Indian Hotels Company, this is how the grouping is done. Targeting is also done. We'll come back to this. So I have 3 categories. One is the uh, Taj Hotels, Resorts and Palace, Vivanta by Taj, the Gateway Hotel, and the Ginger Hotel. If you take this Vivanta by Taj, it is exclusively for the upper class of people. So the expectations of the high-end people, especially probably it may be the foreigners who travel and come down here to India, or it may be a group of people inside our country who look for a very elite experience. So Taj has a brand by Vivanta for the upper upscale guest. So whatever facilities at the high end, technology oriented, or like providing good experience in the hotel is all provided at Vivanta. The next category, which is again a Taj, is for the mid-market traveler, which is the more familiarly known as the Gateway by Taj. Okay, what is this mid-market traveler looks at is this obviously this Vivanta is a 5-star rated, right? This is a 3-star rated. There are so many domestic travelers inside our country who travels for business mostly or maybe for some other personal reasons too sometimes, but who look for a good quality service on a 3-star rated basis that is being provided at the gateway. Whereas there is also another group of people which is the budget traveler that is being accommodated by the ginger. So these are the people who require some good services, but it is a 2-star rated hotel. All this is associated with Taj. If you look at this picture, Vivanta by Taj, Gateway Hotel, Ginger is an budget based, right? It's an economy brand actually. Whereas Vivanta is for upper scale, this is for mid market traveler, domestic traveler, whereas this is for the people with a budget, right? So all this has been covered by the Taj Group, whereas this Ginger Hotel is not directly related to that brand because Taj always wanted to keep it as a brand as a premium service provider in the hotel industry. So Taj is trying to cater here to three group of people. If you look at the first category, the elite group, uh, who are actually mostly cosmopolitan travelers who are just looking for experience, rich experience, and elite group of people with an upper scale. Whereas the Gateway Hotel is for like who are domestic travelers and which will also provide some space for like no to meetings to happen, all those facilities that can be organized. And whereas Ginger being the budgetary hotel, even Ginger provides meeting rooms and other facilities, but it all is available with a budgeted rate. Okay, so that there are three group of people we are Taj as is trying to cater. So uh, what has been done here is this Vivanta is targeted at upper scale, Gateway is targeted at domestic travelers, Ginger is targeted at people who are very conscious about budget. And if you look at it, obviously, all the people in each of this group will have similar characteristics, right? So this is how Taj wanted to do targeting with its hotels. Fine. So now moving on with another example, we will go on with the Royal Enfield case study. If you look at the two-wheeler market, it has motorcycles, scooters, and mopeds. Obviously, Royal Enfield comes into the motorcycles bullet category. And considering the two-wheeler sales in India, it increases there is a lot of scope for credit financing, which is available right now. And with increase in consumer salary, what happens? People wish to prefer to buy two-wheelers. And the challenge that people have in the mass transport system is actually an advantage for growth of sales in two-wheeler, and it's a fast-growing market. And with all the technological advancements, new product designs keeps continuously coming up in the two-wheeler, which influences the two-wheeler sales in India. With this, if I get to do the consumer analysis, people who are in general using the two-wheeler and more specific about Royal Enfield, they are all young bikers. Most probably people who are very old, like no, they don't want to go for Royal Enfield. They are all young bikers. Like even sometimes if people quite old, if they want to go for Royal Enfield, we say like no, it will be quite heavy for you people to handle and balance it. And it's a not so common bike, not many of them possess it, right? It is something which is unique. So when people if you guys especially will know, if you take a bullet with a sound and like no, people just stare at you and like no, people immediately realize that there is a bullet that's going crossing by, which can be used in hills or valleys. It's a sense of pride and freedom. And how does a sense of pride and freedom actually comes? Because based on the looks and the power stability that the two-wheeler has, it represents a symbol of class and power. It talks about experience, comforts, and emotions. This is what will be the consumer analysis of Royal Enfield. With this, if we do a competition analysis, there are so many other players in the market. Okay, like we will have Yamaha, Honda, TVS, Suzuki, and this Yamaha and Bajaj were also like getting closer to provide some bikes like Enticer, which is close to Royal Enfield, but it can never it was able to touch Royal Enfield. And today we have some other categories of sports bikes, especially if we take Royal Enfield. It is targeted at again an elite group of people who will love adventures and based on lifestyle characteristics. This segmentation is actually done based on lifestyle characteristics because they would love to travel, explore things. So they need such a kind of bike. So there are some other bikes like no, as we were discussing in Yamaha and Bajaj brands, we have some models, and also there are some other sports bikes which has come into the market now. But still, Royal Enfield, if you look at this particular chart, quality and price, Royal Enfield stands out here. So it tries to target this particular group of people, people who would love to, I mean, not love, who can or who will be able to afford to pay this particular price and are also looking for a quite a high quality one. So that is what is being targeted by Royal Enfield. So this is what I just want to say. It's an elite class catered to different market segments with different lines of products ranging from 100 cc to 200. I'm sure some more models has come up now. And maintain core competency. Core competency is the strength what this particular product will have. Whoever prefers lifestyle biking, whoever would like to take for adventurous trip, they actually prefer this kind of bikes, right? So maintain core competency is the strength. Moving further, so we have done the segmentation. It's a leisure and adventure cursor bike targeting an age group of people in 25 to 40 years. And look at the targeting region wise also has been done. Who is like no working people in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, those prefer Royal Enfield. Not necessarily working people, but people in tier 1 and tier 2 cities who has the affordability and have and prefers to have those kind of lifestyle basis of being adventurous or leisure, they all like no get to do this. Whereas if you take this young and rich, powerful in tier 3 cities and district headquarters, they also prefer to have this Royal Enfield. Uh, HQ, I mean district headquarters, because obviously, why do we say young, rich, and powerful and district headquarters means? Because these people will have a population who can afford that price and will also like no prefer to have a uh, bike which will provide them that elite experience. Okay, so for now we will